Haven't used this thing all year, so I figure I might as well give it a few rings. But welcome to the Monday, November 14th City Council meeting. We're going to go ahead and have the invocation by Pastor Scott Lee from First Fairhope, and after that we'll have the pledge.
Let's pray together. Father, we are so grateful for the day that you've given us and just the beautiful weather and, Father, the free country and just exciting days to be alive, and we're really grateful for that, especially as we go into this time of Thanksgiving. We pray, God, that you'll be with us tonight in this meeting. Pray that every decision made would be thoughtful and careful, and Lord, we just give you honor because we know that you are in charge of everything. So thank you again for the opportunity to meet tonight. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Before we have the pledge, I was going to have Dr. Booth make a statement.
To honor all those Americans who serve around the world, every single one of them volunteered, and their families who have gifted the most precious thing in their world, and that's their children in service to our nation. Let's proudly join the council and renew our allegiance to our republic. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, council members, the first item on the agenda is the election of a new council president and the council president pro tem. Do I have any nominations?
Council President, I'd like to nominate, are we going to go Council President
Yes,
Pro
sir.
Tem first or Council President?
Council president first.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Councilman Jay Robinson.
All right,
Council President.
thank you. We've got a nomination for Councilman Robinson. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor of Councilman Robinson as new council president, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. The gavel is yours, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good job, Jimmy. Find a chair, brother.
I'm not gonna fall.
Yeah, don't
first.
sit back. Yeah,
Thank you, I appreciate it. Council, thank you. I'm flattered and grateful, flattered that you even allowed me the opportunity to come back as a council member, and grateful for the opportunity to serve as your council president. Audience, bear with me. I've done this a couple of times. I'm a little out of practice. I won't be as polished as Jack or nearly as calm as Jimmy, but we'll get through it together. The next thing, well, let me also recognize before I move too far down the list, my clan that came out to watch. I appreciate it. Thank you for your patience in allowing me the time to do this, and appreciate the audience's patience in listening to you chirp in the background.
I think she's dabbing.
All right, the next order of business is the election of a new council president pro tem. Do I have any motions?
I'd like to nominate Councilman Corey Martin for Council President Pro Tem.
I second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. Congratulations, Councilman Martin.
Thank you.
Got something you'd like to say?
Oh, no, well, thank you, guys. This is something, Jack held this fort down for a long time, and we're kind of swinging the weight around a little bit. So looking forward to doing a good job for you guys and representing this community. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving along. Next up is the approval of the minutes of the 24th of October regular city council meeting and the work session.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay, got a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next, we have the report of the mayor.
Thank you. We are going to recognize our Veteran of the Year, but before we do that, also the police chief has some promotions that she would like to announce. I'm going to let her do that so we can do the Veteran of the Year. We're going to save the best for last. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council, Mayor. I wanted to first of all, I want to thank y'all for allowing us this opportunity to be able to come before y'all and announce some of our promotions that have just taken place. The men and women of the department, they achieve so much, so it's really important that we're able to come before y'all and share that information with you. So tonight I want to recognize 2 officers who were recently promoted in our department, 2 officers who are very deserving of the promotions they hold. They are 2 who have shown dedication, skills, and the ability to lead others within our agency. So I'm going to ask each one of them to step up here, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on them before I present them with their certificate. They were actually promoted on October 17th, so it's been a couple of weeks, but they've been doing a great job. They've filled in those positions, and they've just moved right along. So I'm going to ask that Corporal Joshua Quire come up. Josh has been in law enforcement for approximately 11 years. He has served the last 3 years with the Fairhope Police Department. During his time with Fairhope, he has served our agency in the positions of patrol officer and most recently as an investigator. He has been promoted to the rank of corporal in the patrol division, which places him in a supervisory position to assist with the day-to-day operations on his squad. Congratulations, Josh. Thank you for everything you do for our city, our community, and our police department. Next, I'm going to ask that Julie Joyner come forward. Corporal Joyner has been in law enforcement for approximately 25 years, and she has served the past 7 years with the Fairhope Police Department. Corporal Joyner has served our agency in the positions of patrol officer and also most recently as an investigator. She has been promoted to the rank of corporal in the patrol division, which places her in a supervisory position to assist with the day-to-day operations on her squad. Again, congratulations, Julie. Thank you very much. Thank you. One last thing, both of these officers have worked very hard to get here where they're at today. You know, Julie with 25 years, Josh with 11. They bring a lot of experience. They bring a lot of leadership qualities, and I know that they're going to do an excellent job and continue to do they've done an excellent job, and they're going to continue to do an excellent job for our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So now it is only fitting that we continue with that theme of service and leadership, and we recognize our 2022 Veteran of the Year. So I'm going to ask Mr. Jeffries to come up. Jim Jeffries, we have actually some of our past Veterans of the Year here with us. We have Dr. Barry Booth, which you heard from earlier. We have Doug Mansman, Frank Connell, and then we have Jim Jeffries, and then, of course, Mr. Bridges, who we were going to recognize as our Veteran of the Year.
Congratulations, Chief.
Get these on so I can see what I'm doing. My name is Jim Jeffries, and it is indeed my honor and privilege to announce to you the 2022 Veteran of the Year for the City of Fairhope, Captain James Bridges. That's the good-looking pilot sitting over on the end. That good-looking pilot is a veteran of the United States Army, was a captain in the United States Army and served 4 years with 1 combat tour in Vietnam. His awards include the following: Air Medal with 7 oak leaf clusters, Air Commendation Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, United Nations Service Medal, and Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Additionally, in 2020, he was awarded, along with a lot of other people, Mobile Bay Area Patriot of the Year medallion. Each year, the Mobile Bay Area, which includes Baldwin and Mobile counties, selects a Patriot of the Year and a Veteran of the Year. Patriot of the Year normally is an individual. However, that particular year, Vietnam veterans were chosen. In the past, Korean veterans have been honored, as well as World War II veterans. So again, Jim is also a recipient of that award. He became an active member of VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars Honor Guard. Over a 7-year period, he served in over 300 military burial ceremonies and participated in numerous civic events to promote patriotism, such as presentations of the colors at the Korean War Memorial in Stockton, Veterans Memorial in Silver Hill, inaugurations of key officials in Baldwin County, and at youth football games. When the VFW Post 5660 Honor Guard was disbanded in 2017, Captain Bridges, along with several other members of the Post Honor Guard, established the U.S. Armed Forces Honor Guard of Baldwin County. Since becoming a member, he has participated in over 150 burial ceremonies at the State Veterans Cemetery at Spanish Fort, which we fondly refer to as Arlington South. Also participates in Veteran Days events, Memorial Day events, events at the W.F. Green Veterans Home in Bay Minette, POW MIA recognition events, annual Oath of Enlistment ceremonies at the USS Alabama, and flag ceremonies, flag folding ceremonies, and numerous school presentations regarding civic activities and responsibilities. It's important that I recognize those particular items because he indeed is, although no longer in uniform, continuing to serve the nation. And the criteria for selection of the Veteran of the Year is weighed equally not only on military service, exemplary military service, but continuing service to the community after leaving the service. He certainly epitomizes that. So again, it is my pleasure to introduce him along with other recipients. And the other recipients actually are the selection committee. This award is unique in that there's nothing political about it. The committee is made up of past recipients, which obviously are all veterans, so he was selected by a peer group. Captain James, congratulations. If I may, one other thing very quickly, talking about that continuing service. The State Veterans Memorial Cemetery at Spanish Fort, the foundation that supports that was formed in 2010. Captain James Bridges was a charter member of the board of directors of that organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a plaque presentation. We've already, of course, he led our Veterans Day Parade, obviously. And we have a plaque here that says, presented to James Bridges, 2022 Veteran of the Year, City of Fairhope, for dedicated and selfless service to our country, our community, and local veterans organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Other recipients of this award.
And Jim, I'd like to thank you guys. This is a very humbling experience for me. I was not expecting this, and I'm so honored for it. And I just want to thank you guys for that. This recognition, it means so much to me. Thank you. And I'd like to thank the mayor and the council and the city of Fairhope for what they do for the veterans, their participation on Veterans Day and the programs that they put out for us and provide for us. I just can't thank everybody enough for doing that for us. And I would like to quote, thinking about what Dr. Booth was said a few minutes ago, I'd like to quote a verse from John 15:13. When Jesus says that there's no greater honor than for a man to lay down his life for his fellow man. When we enter the Army, just like Dr. Booth was saying, it's all volunteer, but we take an oath that we're willing to do that, to lay down our life if necessary. Our freedom is not cheap. And anyway, thank you so much. This means so much to me. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
So that is all I have, except before we go out front and take pictures, I did want to let y'all know that we did receive the grant from ADECA for the electric charging stations out on Highway 98. So, and that is the match that will be provided by AMEA. So real excited to be able to receive that. And we waiting on a letter of commitment from them, and we'll have to work out some logistics. But right now we plan to put that out on 98 near the Pig and Cafe 98. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, council.
Plug-in pig.
Council, we move into item number 4, which is public participation for agenda items. So anyone that's got anything on agenda items. Got a busy agenda, seeing none, I will close public participation. And before I move to council comments, I believe we were going to entertain the idea of bumping up some of the things from the later in the agenda in order to get some of our citizens out a little earlier if we can.
Yeah, those numbers were, just tell me those numbers again.
33, 34.
33, 34.
We'll make a motion to move 33 and items 33 and 34 of the agenda to items.
It's 30
30
through
through
34.
34.
30 through 34?
Yes. 30 through 34.
All right, items 30 through 34 in the place of items, what, 6?
Yeah, just move it up to number 6.
Yep.
All right, I've got a motion.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor of amending the agenda order?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, we will carry those first. But next, we go into council comments. Councilman Burrell.
Other than the fact that it really pained me to vote to move Ed Hamley up, I'd really like to punish him, but I don't have any further comments. Good to see you, Ed.
Councilman Martin?
I just wanted to thank Jimmy for his time served in the presidency. We didn't do it earlier, and I'll want to thank him for the job that he did. He did a good job. So thank you, Jimmy.
Well, I
for the
appreciate
time
that.
well served. And people, please come out. I think we won't have a problem with the people coming out. The tree lighting that Paige spoke about on November the 17th. I think that's this Thursday. That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, I would, before I get into mine, I'm going to let Councilman Conyers say something else.
Yeah, just, I would like to thank the council for supporting me during the last year. Really learned a lot during that. First, I'll say, Councilman Burrell held that position for 9 years. It's a lot of extra work. I don't think you realize it until you step into the role that, yeah, sorry, but there's extra work involved. And I would say hats off to Councilman Burrell for 9 years doing that without a break. I was ready for a break. So I know we're in great shape with Councilman Robinson as new president, and with Councilman Martin as pro tem. And beyond that, I'd just say really appreciated working closely with the mayor. We have an amazing mayor, an amazing city staff, and a great council. I mean, we have a lot of people all pulling in the same direction, and we have a lot of projects going on right now. So getting to see that a little more up front and center was a good experience. But not going anywhere, but I certainly appreciate all the support and enjoy the time. Thank you again, Mayor. Can't say enough good things about what you do for the community. So that's the only comments I have.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what Corey said. Councilman Conyers has done a fantastic job since he's been on the council 6 years ago. And it truly cannot be stated enough what an asset he is, not only as a council member, but what he did in his year as president. And it does pain me and concern me a little how happy he seems to be not to be doing this job anymore. But we are all really grateful for all you did and all you continue to do, Jimmy. So thank you very much for that.
I appreciate y'all.
And the last thing I'll say is I wanted to just briefly recognize the Fairhope Pirate 10U football team, who was the only Fairhope recreation team to make it to the Super Bowl. This team went 0-8 as 9-year-olds in a 9-10 division, and then came back to go, I think, 9-2 or 8-2 and make it to the Super Bowl as 10-year-olds. So that is a huge, huge accomplishment for those kids, mostly due to coaching.
Let me guess. You're a coach.
I was a coach. I wasn't the coach, but yes.
Just a guess.
But kudos to those kids. They really worked hard and improved a lot and represented the city of Fairhope incredibly well, including a 0-0 battle until 30 seconds left in the game in the semifinals against local rival Spanish Fort, only to be sealed with a 90-yard touchdown run only 2 weeks after that same Spanish Fort team beat them 32-0. So a lot of grit shown by those kids, really. It was impressive.
So when's the council president? When's the game?
It's over. We lost.
Oh, we
lost the Super Bowl.
Oh, you lost the Super Bowl.
I didn't really get into that.
Oh, okay.
We did.
I'm sorry. Okay. He wasn't coaching that.
I didn't have a lot to do with that. All right, I will close council comments, and then we will go into what previously was identified as item number 30, which is the Historic Preservation Committee appointment of Amy Ford Molyneux. Council,
I make a motion we approve Amy.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will say aye eventually. Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Next up is an appointment to the a reappointment to the Personnel Board for Jeannie Frazier.
I move to reappoint Jeannie Frazier to the Personnel Board.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of this reappointment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Next is a request from Lindsay Simmons with the Eastern Shore Junior Auxiliary, is requesting permission of road closure of Bancroft from the intersection of Fairhope Avenue to Oak Avenue on Sunday, December 11th, 2022, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the Jolly Jog, a proposed half-mile fun run for families hosted by the Mill to raise funds for the Eastern Shore Junior Auxiliary. The proposed event includes a 1-hour buffer on each side for setup and cleanup. They are not requesting that Fairhope Avenue be closed in any manner. The event will begin and end directly at the Mill, running towards Oak Avenue, back up Bancroft to close the loop near the library. In addition, activities include Santa for pictures, live band, kids' games and crafts, and costume contests for participants. Based on this same event hosted by the Junior Auxiliary last year, we estimate attendance to be approximately 150 people. This is a family-friendly event. All right, council, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Lindsay, would you like to come up and say anything about this event?
I don't need to say anything.
All right. We appreciate your brevity. Council, any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Next item is a request from Ed Hamley with the Fairhope Sunset Rotary Club Foundation requesting permission for the use of the city streets for a fundraising event that will benefit the Fairhope Point Clear Rotary Youth Club on Saturday, January 21st, 2023 for the 4th annual .5K run in Fairhope from 2:45 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Council, do I have a
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
If you take an hour and 15 minutes to make that run, you are slow.
Is there a
Or
misprint?
even 45
Look,
minutes.
is there a misprint on the time?
I think it's just some before and after.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to make sure. Mr. Hamley, would you like to say anything?
Come on over here. Are we running this backwards?
Hi, Ed Hamley with the Sunset Rotary Club. Not all of our citizens can run the 5Ks and the 10Ks, so we've come up with .5K. And we really won't need the streets for that long. It normally takes about 2 minutes to do this, but we just want to be safe.
That's right.
So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I've got a motion and a second with no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Item number 34 is a request for ALE Committee with Fairhope East K6 Parent Teacher Corporation in collaboration with the Fairhope West Parent Teacher Partnership and J. Larry Newton Parent Teacher Organization are requesting permission to close the streets in downtown Fairhope on Saturday, February 4th, 2023 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for their 7th annual Pirate Dash and requesting use of barricades at major road intersections to protect runners. The Pirate Dash will begin and end on the bluff. Council, I will entertain a motion on this agenda item.
So moved.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
How long was the Pirate Dash now? Is it
That's 5K.
That's 5K, yeah.
half a mile,
Stepping up.
4 hours.
5K and a 5K.
Yeah, there's a lot of it uphill. Trust me, it
Yeah,
seems
ran it.
longer than that.
Ran that Pirate Dash. It's a beast.
Do I have anybody here on this run that wants to come up and say anything? All right, seeing none, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion passes. All right, we'll go back to our originally scheduled program and original item number 6, which is a final adoption of an ordinance to amend zoning ordinance number 1253, request to establish initial zoning of Dynamic Holdings LLC property to B2 General Business District concurrent with a conditional annexation into the city of Fairhope. The property is approximately 0.6 acres and is located south of Spring Run Drive, north of the Wolf Bay View Funeral Home.
Thank you, Councilman. President Robinson.
Thank you, sir.
Just gonna get you there. That was my wife. She was brief. Now it's my turn. Yeah.
Can't be two of you.
So this is, we did have the public hearing last week. I will try to get through these pretty quick. This is a request for B2 with conditional annexation. The property's on the screen. It is surrounded by B2, currently in unzoned Baldwin County. They will be connecting access, have to come from the property to the north, but there is no site plan with this. This is just a zoning request. That's the uses in B2. I don't think we had too many questions last month, so we do recommend approval, and it did come from the Planning Commission with a unanimous recommendation for approval as well.
Council, do you have any questions for Hunter?
Make a motion, we approve the final adoption of the rezoning.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Clerk?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye. We're working into it.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries. All right, item number 7 is another final adoption for a zoning ordinance. Request to establish initial zoning of the Grand Reserve at Pelham LLC property to B2 General Business District concurrent with conditional annexation into the city of Fairhope. The property is approximately 13.3 acres and is located on the northwest corner of Greeno Road and Old Battles Road.
Thank you. And we saw this one as well, the public hearing. So this is the acreage in question. As we discussed last week, this is step 1 of kind of a group. We looked at all of this property together. The public's property lies just to the south. This has to be annexed first chronologically to become contiguous. There is no site plan approved within this property. With this rezoning, it's whatever B2 allows, which is on the screen here. It does meet, real quick, we did talk about the comp plan, which did not have this node, if you will, in 2000, the last time that was revised, but the new one does recognize this with the development of the public's property. Staff does recommend approval of this with conditional annexation to B2. Planning Commission also unanimously recommended approval.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions for Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter, there are 2 parcels there, and it would rezone both of them, right?
Yes.
Just making sure there's not a carve out there.
No, sir. This is, both properties were included and advertised. Pins are on even on the summary here, as well as the legal description that was in the ordinance.
And on the usage items, it would still need to come back via site plan or not?
But potentially.
Depends on what
it is. There's a decision tree from here. You know,
Gotcha.
if it's 13 acres, you're likely not to see just one business. But if you saw 3 businesses, MOP, if it's depending on what it is, there's likely to be a future review at some point. Whether that happens at staff level or planning commission or council.
Depends on
to
what-
be determined.
Okay, hearing no further comments from the council, do I have a motion?
Need a motion in a second.
I have a motion, all right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. With no further discussion, clerk, you'll call the question, please.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Item number 8 is a request, is another final adoption for zoning ordinance. It's a request to consider the applicant SE Civil acting on behalf of the owner, Burgess Thomason Jr. et al., to amend the existing Montrose Preserve PUD to remove the requirement of a preliminary plat for all 18 lots within the PUD, create 5 development phases, and to include either option A, allow lots 4 through 6 to be sold individually, or option B, combine lots 4 through 6 as one lot to be sold, reducing the lot count to 16.
Thank you. And we discussed this at length, so I'm going to kind of run through summary for the public, just so we know what property we're looking at, and then get to kind of what we're need to discuss tonight. The property is on the screen. It's currently mostly undeveloped, well, all undeveloped land. In general, we even talked about this at the original PUD, the option to sell lots 4 through 6 individually or as a group, I don't think is a concern. I think we even had a path to do that. Administratively, we talked about that with the original adoption of the previous PUD. The adding 5 development phases, what that essentially does is remove a condition of approval. Get to that. We talked about it at length, but that removed this condition of approval that required a preliminary plat for all 18 lots to be submitted to the Planning Commission for approval. I won't repeat a lot of the questions we talked about, but kind of get down to the new information. This was recommended for denial from the Planning Commission, and staff recommended denial as well. Last meeting, it was kind of, is there an alternate way? Is there an alternate solution? So What I can't do right now is sit down and get into the weeds on what exactly we want to see. So it could, but the answer could be amend the PUD to accommodate some of the things we were trying to get within the PUD. So what, this is an excerpt from one of our very first things, and we acknowledged then, when we were reviewing the first iteration of the PUD, we acknowledged then that the right-of-ways were Baldwin counties. And at this time, we can't be assured if those right-of-ways will be vacated, but we're willing to explore that solution. But alternately, the roads could be on private property. And this was kind of a chicken or the egg situation. What do we do to an applicant at that point in time? Do we make them just go away until we can figure that out? Might take 2 years, or do we approve the PUD without some of those details, but kind of kick that can down the road to preliminary plat? So I think you'll know what we chose to do. We kicked that can, let them work out some of those details, but that's maybe not the solution that the applicant wants. So we were looking at alternatives. And you have, based on our zoning ordinance, you have 5 things you can do tonight. You can approve the application, approve it with conditions. You can deny the application. You can table it for a continuation for further study. I do worry a little bit with tabling because that requires updates. So city council can only table, limited times without the applicant being involved. And I highlighted down at the bottom, you can remand this to either the Director of Planning or the Planning Commission. I think this gives some time to work out solutions. But right now, if I sit down and try to get a full list, it's predicated on knowing where the roads are going to be. So we're going to need to work through that. Those 2 things, at least the acceptance of the right-of-ways. We were actually hoping to have that in front of you, but we kind of looked at some of the things, and we're going back to the county to ask what agreements are in there, because there's some areas paved, there's some areas not, there's some private drives, what hold harmless agreements are there. We want to see that and get clarification before we bring those right-of-ways to you for acceptance. And then as a follow-up, somewhere down the road, might ask if you're interested in vacating those. You think it's only fair to evaluate those things individually when it's time to evaluate those. So I want to be clear, if that is an option, it's remanded, it may be months before we get back in front of you with that final solution. And I did speak with the applicant, and I think they're okay with that. And I think that's an alternate solution that we can potentially work out and get those things addressed actually in the PUD.
I make a motion, I move that we postpone this matter until further consideration with the right-of-ways and evacuation of the right-of-ways, and opportunity for the planning director to make a better decision upon this particular matter.
So to remand that to the
Remand that back to the
planning director?
Postpone, remand, however you, Robert's, postpone is the matter, or remand it, however you want to say it.
I think because tabling.
I'm not
is an
tabling
option.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay. Got it.
I'm saying what I know I'm saying. I want to postpone the matter until.
For clarification, because there's 2 options. Back to the Planning Commission, which required new advertising through them.
No,
or to
I
me.
just said it.
Okay.
Planning director.
Okay.
I said you.
Okay.
Just what you said. I was listening.
All right, so we have a motion to remand this back to the planning director. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
So we remand that back to you, Hunter. That does not go back to Planning Commission for a vote. It just, you try to work it out with the developer, and then you bring solutions to the council for a final consideration.
Yes. And it is very likely, I mean, there's really the only request in this current PUD amendment is to remove a condition. It's almost impossible to not have to re-advertise this to come back for council. So we'll have 2 meetings, at future, and then I'll have to advertise whatever then we'll have to work out solutions, then I'll have to advertise those solutions, and we'll have to have a new public hearing.
And I know that the residents were pretty pleased as to, the reduced density of the area, so that, as long as we trend in that direction, they're happy. But And you did say, and I was going to ask you that the applicant is okay with postponing that and having discussions with you in regards to that, because I want to be sure we're mindful of them as well.
Yes, and that might take like I said, a little bit of time before we can have those conversations, but they were okay with that.
I think everybody wants this to work. Just gotta get it right.
All right, council, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, clerk, will you call the question?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Item number 9 is a final adoption to amend an ordinance, user fees charged by the City of Fairhope Planning and Zoning Department. Hunter, you can go through this if you want. This was, for those of you that were here last time, this was something to catch us up on fees so that we are not footing the bill for the advertisement of some of these developments. Did I say that right?
You said it right. Yeah,
All right.
that's what the increases are, cover
Okay.
the advertising and mailing costs.
Council, does anybody have any questions for Hunter on item number 9? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I need to call a
I
vote.
think we got to.
Oh, we got to do it?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, well, see, look, all right, we're working through it. Here we go. All right, I got a motion and a second. Clerk, will you call the question?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye. You know, 9 items in, I've already dropped the ball. All right.
Human, man.
Item number 10 is a site plan review and approval request of FST Magnolia Avenue LLC, owner for site plan approval of Magnolia Properties Office Building. The subject property is Zone B2, General Business District, and is approximately 0.5 acres. The property is located on the southern side of Magnolia Avenue and lies west of North Section Street.
Thank you, Council President. This did go to the Planning Commission in October. We talked about it briefly in the work session, but for those that were not able to hear that, this is the property on the aerial is on the right-hand side of the screen. This kind of tucked in between the Hampton Inn and the parking deck. And on the left is the zoning, where you can see this is B2 zoning. The street view in March, the houses have been removed, and I think there was some geotech testing done. Architectural renderings are on the screen, and a site plan. I'll kind of talk about some of these things, but why it's here for reference, they are providing some on-site parking and handicap parking on-site. There is an open courtyard and as well as handling some of the kind of back of the house garbage removal, things like that. So we do appreciate those, handling some of those things on-site and not completely burdening the right-of-ways. Like I said, this did go to the Planning Commission, who did recommend unanimously to recommend approval to approve this. They did have 2 conditions at that time. They're shown on the screen in red. Those were all structures should be a maximum of 40 foot in height, and the height of the courtyard enclosure on the north side of the property does not exceed the code requirement of 42 inches for a guardrail. I'm going to just run through the presentation and kind of get to those items. I believe those have been addressed at this point in time, and we've removed 2 conditions, added 1. All the setbacks meet. I said there's 8 parking spaces and 2 handicap on-site, and there's on-street parking as well. Did not warrant a traffic study for the trip generation volume. There is an existing sidewalk on adjacent to Magnolia Avenue. It's 5 foot wide. The civil plans you see on the screen propose to increase that to 8 foot. There is a conflict between that and the landscape plans, which the landscape plans are here on the screen. It illustrates a 5 foot sidewalk with a larger planting bed. See street trees. I'll pull up this is what we have right now that reflects the landscape in the kind of as you marry those 2 ideas, 8 foot sidewalk with landscape. So we do have a condition to provide a new landscape plan that reflects this and work with the staff to find new places for those street trees that were removed. I think that's, owner's very willing to do that and meet with us and see if we can come up with a solution. I think that's an easy one to accommodate. The courtyard, as I said, there was one condition of the courtyard. It talked about a wall. And what the Planning Commission, when it was reviewed, it was the 8-foot wall doesn't convey a public open space. And they made that based on the condition that says all non-residential buildings in the CBD shall be built at a right-of-way line unless it's a courtyard, plaza, or other public space as proposed. Well, we've looked at this. You know, it's hard in public meetings to debate the nits of a zoning ordinance as large as it is. So we actually looked at the use table that gives further guidance. And part of that is a courtyard as defined. And it even shows what the courtyard can be. So we've looked at this at staff and council, and you know, we feel this meets the definition of a courtyard as proposed. And that's, you can clearly see that here. It almost mimics the drawing. This is a public space. It's wide entrance into the courtyard. Half of it just happens to be open and not a building. And that kind of almost mimics this drawing, but this drawing reflects solid buildings instead of just the wall. So we do believe it meets our ordinance as proposed. I do commend the owner, you know, hearing this, and we kind of walked through. They did come back and voluntarily. These were wooden slats, pretty tightly spaced. They've opened those up to provide some transparency into the courtyard from the street level. Building height's always a debate. And I'm going to kind of move through and show pictures. They're easier to see. The very first architectural plans we had included the image on the left. You saw some HVAC or mechanical equipment that approached 50 feet. And then there was a 4-foot retaining wall. At Planning Commission, this is what you saw. The parapet wall was removed, but with other plans, you still saw rooftop equipment. So it wasn't clear what was being proposed. This is, after speaking with the owner, there was some moving around of the mechanical equipment on the roof to get away from the edges of the building, and they also provided, at my request, the site or visibility study you see on the screen. So a lot of the intents of what's on the roof is, can it be seen from the street level? They showed 4 different locations, and the architect modeled these to see where the newly relocated roof equipment, whether it would be visible. I did not, like I said, I did not ask for on the other side of Hampton Inn or the other side of the parking deck, Fairhope Avenue. I just don't think that's going to be seen. But I do think this accommodates the intention of what we're trying to accomplish. You know, mechanical equipment is still a little bit one of those gray areas that we discussed in the work session. I think we have room for improvement in our zoning ordinance, and I think we have a solution for that should be coming to you after it works its way through Planning Commission.
So, real quick, Hunter.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to decrease the wall in length or no, in the courtyard?
No.
That was conditioned in there, I thought.
It was conditioned. It was a recommendation for a condition, but I think based on that one section of the code, I think there was more information in the code that we're looking at that I think it was wrong pretenses. You can absolutely, this is coming from staff, we don't think that what they've proposed is in conflict with the code. Now, the Planning Commission made a recommendation and kind of landed on that. 42 is actually a building code requirement, but there, you know, as you were there, it's kind of what do we do if it's not going to be 8 foot, or, you know, so kind of threw that out as guidance. That's up to you. It's a site plan, and you can approve that as you will. We've looked at it, does it meet the codes or not, and don't feel like it's in opposition of our code.
As long as it's not in opposition, I just saw it as a condition, but in the schematics, I see it as 6+. I'm looking at the reference to the humans.
Yeah, it is, I believe it was 7 foot,
That's what I'm saying.
7-foot wall.
Yeah, I don't know that,
Yeah,
but I'm
from the
looking at-
plaza.
Yeah, okay. Just want
And
to
the
clarify.
woods was 6.
Because it was in red, and I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the condition coming to you, and then we kind of we worked with the owner on making some amendments.
Okay.
All right,
So-
council, anybody got any other questions for Hunter on this?
I'm gonna go back to one of the questions I asked in the work session. I may rephrase it a little bit. So the maximum height of the mechanical equipment is 43 feet?
I don't have the HVAC units and all of those things where that is. It's not the original 50-foot.
Like you said, it's 43. and
40.
Took, and they eliminated the parapet walls.
This right here is 43, just that little section of the elevator equipment, the screening of that. This is mechanical equipment that is, I don't know the revised height of that.
So they've been moved interior.
But those have been moved into, this was the one thing that was kind of the whole building was built around, so it was tough to accommodate. But this was revised from what you see on this plan.
You know, I just, we do need to get that cleaned up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, everybody's gonna interpret that the way they wanna interpret it. We've had an issue with a residence downtown with an elevator shaft.
Yeah. I thought we
Some
talked
people
about
said it didn't meet code, it did meet code.
Yeah, I think
But I thought we said everything was 40 feet.
every structure.
Well,
but-
the
but-
highest,
Well, but that's the thing, you can build a structure up to a structure being defined as a building, but that mechanical equipment that goes on top of that is not considered a structure under and that's,
So-
that's.
No,
Under outside codes.
I was fixing to say,
Well,
Yeah.
and let me be
ahead,
clear,
please.
because it's
yes,
subtle, but
we had a case like this.
our ordinance is not explicit.
Right.
So when applicants are out there doing their best, they're looking at multiple, they're looking at architectural code standards,
it.
building code standards, and those documents are clear on mechanical equipment, whether it's a structure or not. Ours are not. And I think to make it easier, we just need to be very clear. The word structure shows up 240 times in our zoning ordinance. Everything from cemeteries but it's not, doesn't mention mechanical equipment.
I get it, but back to Councilman Burrell's point, me being on the planning commission for a year now, being baptized with that information, with holy water. We had a particular situation with Jack, and you know what I'm talking about, and we were still keeping everything at that height, even with the structure. That's why Jack is asking, and that's why I'm asking, because I don't want to keep going all over the place with everybody, you know.
I agree, and I think sometimes that keep it simple method, one
Yeah.
sentence that says all structures, but then you define structures different ways throughout the way. I think it has some room to clear up, to be clear on what our goals are.
But what I'm saying, even with that elevator, we kept it at 40 feet, or whatever that was. It was not above that, is what I'm saying.
Do we have a maximum for anything? Because let's say I want to put a cell phone transmitter on top of a building, and that's been done in town as well. Can I raise that 20 feet above the height of the building?
Right
I mean, that's
now,
just,
it's a gray area on our code, and you see that on the Hampton Inn has those
Keep it at 40.
on there right now.
I thought that we had,
I thought
that
we
we had
did too.
explored this rather exhaustively on,
I can
We did.
tell you, it's not clear. It's not from at least the applicant's perspective, and I will say there has been clarifications in meetings, what we said verbally, well, this is what we mean. This was all designed over a year. The first meeting I had was well over a year ago. And, so it is a challenge, and I think there's solutions that make this very clear. But it's not always simple. Sometimes more graphics, more words make it clear.
Yeah. I just want to be consistent as far as the precedent we've set. I think that's very important, in my opinion. I don't want to say no to someone else when they were trying to do something, and now we're coming back and say, oh yeah, them 3 feet are good, you know, it's just a structure. But so was that, you know. And I'm trying to be, you know, I don't want to keep jumping around and picking and choosing, or even seeming as if we're picking and choosing. You know, my opinion.
No, I think Councilman Martin is correct in that we need to shore up our ordinance or our code so that it's not an interpretation every time something like this comes up. And Hunter, I think you've mentioned something to me that would make this much clearer moving forward, and that's obviously something this council needs to consider so that it doesn't become an interpretation every time. Consistency is important. I completely agree. I do feel like there's been some even recently where we've gone above that 43 when it included certain things other than outside of the building height itself. Am I wrong on that?
We did that on rooftop terrace.
And that's what I'm talking about.
If they moved the shaft to the back for the visibility.
Yeah,
So, but we
I thought
did-
we allowed, that may have been because it was a PUD, we allowed some variation of the shaft. But we still, I thought, imposed, and hey, I love the project. I'm not trying to find a way to vote against it. I'm trying to find a way to make it consistent. But I thought that we still had somewhere some absolute height that it said, we're not exceeding that on anything.
Yeah, we've had multiple PUDs that had differing height limits, but a lot of those just said the eave is the height limit. And it was null, I mean, it doesn't speak to mechanical equipment or screening on roofs. We haven't been clear on that. Oddly enough, the one place that's clear, if y'all remember, when the 3 village zoning districts that no one's ever zoned to, they've been in our zoning ordinance since 2003, I believe. Those are very clear. Somebody wants to zone to that, it's got very clear instructions. Here's where the height is, here's where the rooftop equipment can be. But we don't have that right now. Where we start mentioning equipment, it's actually more about landscape to hide the equipment. It almost doesn't even contemplate them on roofs. Yeah.
It sounds like what we need is not only some sort of diagram depicting on what we do, but it needs to have something like Jack's talking about, which is building height to be X amount, but nothing on the property in its entirety shall exceed X feet, whether it's a mechanical structure or anything else. Yeah, but we might have done it, but it ain't in the code.
We did it vocally, and I'll tell you that. I mean, we've been
yeah.
clearing up since I've been here.
But we've done it though, we did it with what number?
What did we do on the rooftop terrace? Do y'all
We
recall?
kept it, we made them, if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, we made them decrease the floor, because they wanted 3 floors, cut down to 2, and when they added that elevator, it still met the 40-foot.
But
No, we went over.
we don't have,
Yeah, we
actually
were-
have a project we've reviewed.
Yeah.
We made amendments to the
What was
zoning
that case?
ordinance.
That was a case that,
On
For the
the
rooftop
rooftop terrace.
that was,
Yeah. No, we
was
should
gonna
be
be-
getting that application soon, but we don't have an application for that one. But it was
still 3 stories.
one
and
was
we-
And it did exceed 40.
it
was
did
just-
exceed 40.
We just said that you had to move anything above,
Long as we're, okay.
you had to push it back out of the sight,
We put
line
a
of
cap- Where
sight.
did we land on? 7.5% of the overall rooftop square footage? It was limited for the elevator shaft and stairwell.
And moved to the back of the
Could go
property or
For
something.
those
Up to
mechanical
5.
features.
Yeah.
Well, I think this entire exercise and discussion is just evidence that we do need to clarify and be more definitive in our code so that, again, we're not having this discussion and comparing one project to the next so that everybody has equal footing, everybody knows what they're dealing with when they come in. You know, and that's something we as a group can clear up with your help, obviously, Hunter. But as it stands, as the code exists today,
It's a gray area, and, you know, like I said, some of these started a year ago. I think you're absolutely right, and I want to reiterate, what we mean by the 40-foot is nothing above it. We're going to go make our codes be more clear on that, but
Right.
anybody looking to design a project now, stay under that 40 foot.
yeah. All right, council,
Clarify
I move to approve the site plan.
Okay, got a motion?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Council, any other discussion?
I think it's gonna be a fine asset to downtown.
No doubt.
I don't think any of our comments, like I said, need to be taken, that anybody was not in favor of it, but we absolutely have to have that discussion.
Yeah.
And I just say I appreciate the applicant going to the trouble and making the effort to find something that works and getting those mechanical features out of the line of sight and making those adjustments.
And
Yeah.
if I may, we did have one condition on there. I think everybody's on board.
I
but
want to amend it to
the-
say with the condition imposed by planning commission.
Whoa.
Staff, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on the screen. The landscape plan that's on the screen there. So that one,
All right, we still have a motion and a second, and I'd like to, I mean, anytime Hunter can come in and tell us that the owner or developer of a project has gone above and beyond to do everything they can to get in compliance with what the city is asking them to do, that's really all we can ask for, and we appreciate you guys being willing to do that. And what looks to be something that
Bless
we
you.
expect will be an asset for downtown, so thank you for that. I do have a motion and a second. With no further discussion, I will entertain all those in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Item number 11 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a project development agreement between the City of Fairhope and R.W. Battles LLC, contingent on annexation into the City of Fairhope. And council, as you are aware, this is an agreement on the Publix development at that site. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just mention that I think we considered something earlier that we had to do in advance of this being able to be considered, so
All right.
contingency.
I mean, the deferral of the utility access in the amount of $158,000. I don't remember that part.
Don't pay that, don't pay that upfront. We still get that reimbursed.
Yeah, all
We will
that,
recover
yeah, all that
that.
comes back.
We'll cover that.
Yeah, all that comes back to us. So we did, I mean, so basically, I think this is a good asset for the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be good for the community and for the city as a whole. Good business.
All right. I've got a motion and a second.
Yes, you do.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Item number 12 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope gratefully accepts the warranty deed from Azalea Ridge Property Owners Association, Inc., to the City of Fairhope for the Rain Tree Lift Station property, and hereby accepts the wastewater infrastructure, including lift station, sewer force main, and 8-inch gravity sewer, and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to sign any documents necessary to complete the transfer. Council, Jason discussed this in the work session. This is something that he and Councilman Boone had spent some time on, and they have upgraded, this area have upgraded this lift station to meet our requirements and are now asking us to take it over.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Okay? I will
So moved.
entertain a motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Council, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 13 is a resolution that the public improvements indicated herein for Overland Subdivision Phase 1 are hereby accepted for public maintenance, subject to the bond posted by the subdivider, and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute the maintenance and guarantee agreement between the City of Fairhope and 68V Overland 2021 LLC. Hunter, is there anything else we need to know about this? Okay. All right, council, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 14 is a resolution that the public improvements indicated herein for Live Oak Estates are hereby accepted for public maintenance, subject to the bond posted by the subdivider, and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute the maintenance and guarantee agreement between the City of Fairhope and Breland Homes Coastal LLC. Hunter, same question. Anything else we need to know about this? Okay. All right.
Make a
council.
motion, we approve as presented.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Council, any further comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Item number 15 is a resolution that the City Council approves Amendment Number 1 to RFP 002-19, Program Administrative Service for Working Waterfront and Green Space Project to Grant Management, LLC for AD-CNR Grant M1A14-FHWW, and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute Amendment Number 1 between the City of Fairhope and Grant Management, LLC, in the amount of $210,500. Richard discussed this in the work session. These are just additional hoops we have to continue to jump through for the Restore Act money.
So moved.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Council, any further discussion?
I have one. So you said that we're not paying this, but does this come out of our total grant proceeds, or do they add that to what we were going to receive?
A portion of it, yeah, is already, it's added for grant management.
Okay, so they're adding 210,000 to what we're receiving.
Or it's already
considered.
it's already in the,
For grant administration.
It's in the total.
Already.
So that's less money that goes towards the work? I'm not understanding that answer.
So when we got the total amount that was awarded,
Yeah.
it includes a certain percentage of that money for grant administration already.
Okay.
So it's already allocated for it.
That was money already set aside for that? It just seems like an
So what is
awful lot
grant
of
administration?
extra money for the administration of something that we've been
What?
talking about for 5 years.
What does it go towards?
government.
It is.
What does it go towards?
Somebody managing it.
Okay.
I did have a motion and a second. Council, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 16 is a resolution that the City Council approves Amendment Number 1 to RFP 010-19, Professional Engineering Services for Working Waterfront and Green Space Project to Goodwin Mills and Kaywood for AD-CNR Grant M1A14-FHWW, and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute Amendment Number 1 between the City of Fairhope and Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, Inc., in the amount of $281,920. Again, Richard covered this in the work session, moving this towards completion for the Working Waterfront and Restore Act funds. Council, anybody got any questions on that? Any additional questions for Richard? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just looking, the additional amount obligated for program administration services. We're paying for a lot of administrative stuff. I'd see some money going into the ground and not so
Actual
much going
project.
to paper and ink.
I agree.
Is that what it is, my paper and ink?
I do have a motion and a second. Council, any further discussion?
I don't feel like it's so nebulous. I don't feel like I know what we're spending our money on. I feel like I have no idea what this is going to, just like the other administration. What is this? I mean, have we vetted this? Has anybody vetted this? And anybody said, why are you charging us this? And is that taken away from what we're doing down there at the waterfront?
And I don't know if I can help this clarifies this. Y'all have actually already approved this all once, okay? This was in part of the initial, so
Okay.
on these federal grants, when that restore money ended up in the U.S. Treasury, in order to spend it, we were required by federal law to have a grant administration, and they already built in that 3% or 3.5%.
So we're just piecemeal spending that now.
No, it is mandated. If you want the money for construction, you're gonna have this. the less painful one of these is for Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, this is for the construction engineering inspection, meaning that they're getting ready to release us to put this out for bid, and it's gonna go to construction.
That's what
This
we're
is
asking.
the oversight engineering,
That's what
and
we're
it's a preset value that was preset back in 2018 or 20.
Okay.
But that's what we're
Well, see,
asking.
we're just unfamiliar with this now.
Yeah, when it says
So,
administration, yeah.
The other one was grant administration.
Yeah.
This one is not. This
And
is
again, that was
administration.
something that's decided by somebody other than us, but we have to approve that.
And I don't mean to be cavalier, but even if we could be approved to administer it ourselves, they wouldn't have given us that money to self-administer. They say they want an independent, third party that's vetted, that is outside of the city to do this, and they're gonna build in this much money to administer it, so.
Kind of like that, it's all built.
There's administrative costs built into all of these.
So,
Thank you, Richard.
But, it is, technically federal dollars, and it's, I know your frustration.
No, and you clarified it.
It is a
I just feel
large
like
dollar
sometimes
amount.
when it's been a while, and this has been out there so much, just bringing it back, I didn't want to sound cavalier, but it sounds like we're flippantly spending this money and not really vetting it, but when you describe, what we're doing.
And the biggest concern, I think she'll nod her head, is the contracts have gotten so old that with state procurement, you're supposed to, in 3 years is kind of the maximum, so that's kind of why we're back refreshing these and making them updated to date, so.
Yeah, so we're just curious my biggest question is, what is administration, just in my ignorance? The services, I understand the paperwork, et cetera, just for the public.
So,
Yeah.
so originally, when these were approved in 19, a green sheet was done, and like for the grants administration, for phase one, their contract was 36,000. So that's the reason for the phase two, which what this is what their fee is. They take the invoices that are coming from the engineers, from the contractors, go to our grants administration. They're reviewing those invoices. They're making sure they're right. They look at where it's supposed to be percentage of completion. They're putting together the reimbursement form that goes to the federal, so.
And this is the money to pay those people?
Yes, so they
Okay,
send us
that's
invoices,
yeah.
it's good.
Okay.
We pay it, then we get copies of the canceled checks, put everything together, send it back to them, then they're putting it on a report going to the feds. They're doing I think it's every 6 months, reports. So they're doing for that $200,000, they are doing a job.
Yeah. No worries. Very good.
All right, I have a motion and a second for item number 16. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 17 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope authorizes the submission of a grant application for the water quality program of the Resources and Ecosystem Sustainability, Tourist Opportunity, and Revived Economics of the Gulf States Act with a requested amount of $487,500. The proposed cost of the project to be $650,000. Grant funds will pay $487,500 of the total project cost, and if a grant is funded, the city will be responsible for contributing $162,500 required in cash matching funds, as well as $19,500 to cover grant management services for the project, and the city council authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to sign all required grant application documents on behalf of the city. I was really close to zooming through that whole thing without mistakes. All right, Richard, you discussed this again in work session. Council, anybody got any questions for Richard on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further comment? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of item number 17, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 18 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope authorizes acceptance of the grant award from the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency and authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to sign the subrecipient funding agreement for the State Homeland Security Grant in the amount of $49,892. And if you'll recall, this is for additional barricades to hopefully give us enough to use for any any event that we have.
So move.
All right,
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Agenda item number 19 was removed. So we'll go to number 20, which is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the selection of Pyro Productions, Inc. as professional consultant for the design and production of the fireworks display for New Year's Eve 2023 for the Community Affairs Department pursuant to the Code of Alabama Pyrotechnic Shooter Law, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to negotiate a fee schedule and establish a not-to-exceed limit with this firm.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 21 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the selection of International Code Council professional engineering services for third-party review of construction documents for the RDI hangar and the Rockwell apartment buildings, A and B, etc., and hereby authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute a contract with the firm, with a hard estimate amount of $50,000. Eric discussed this with us in the work session. Council, does anybody else have any additional questions for Eric on this subject?
May make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 22 is a resolution to award to Hemp Hill Construction Company, Inc. for CR 33 24-inch water main extension project with a total bid proposal budgeted not to exceed $6,452,960. And while that is a significant amount of money, it is about $540,000 under budget. Jason discussed this in the work session. Anybody got any questions for Jason?
Jason, did they say when they would start if awarded this and complete it? And it'd take how long? A year?
25. 24, 25.
All right, council, I'll entertain.
So moved.
A motion. We've got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion on item number
I
22?
guess so we are gonna wait, we have to wait that long. Is there any provisions in this contract that would allow them to increase the cost if their supply cost went up or labor costs they can't? Is firm fixed price? Okay.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of number 22 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 23 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the procurement of FY 2023 potting soil Sungrow MM 830-F3B FBRSI for the Public Works Department from Sungrow Horticulture, Inc. as a sole source and manufacturer of this product. Authorizes procurement based on the option allowed by the Code of Alabama 1975, Section 41-16-5113. The total budgeted amount not to exceed $70,937.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Could you please repeat the product again?
I could have made up any numbers and letters I wanted and nobody would have known the difference. All right, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 24 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope approves the procurement of one 2023 Ford Explorer or equivalent for the Planning Department from Stivers Ford Lincoln. The type of vehicle needed is on the State of Alabama Division of Purchasing Contract number T191L, and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. Total cost not to exceed $32,753. $1,287 of which is not budgeted.
I move to approve the procurement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Lindsay, you need to go buy that man a cold beer. He's been here a long time.
All those in favor of item number 24, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 25 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope approves the procurement of one Econoline DP 1225DA backhoe trailer, 24-ton, with air brakes or equivalent for the gas department. This type of equipment is on the Omnia Partners contract number 161534, and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. Total cost not to exceed $23,363. It's over budget $2,363. However, Gas has done such a fantastic job managing their purchases that they have exceeded these savings in some of their other recent purchases.
16,000 under budget on other items.
Just give them another week, don't worry.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
moved.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 26 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope approves the procurement of expansion of the Laserfish Avante Starter Public Portal for the IT department from MCCI. This is addendum number 2 to MCCI Master Services Agreement number 19570. The contract is through NCPA, contract number 11-25, and therefore does not have to be let out to bid. The total budgeted amount not to exceed $18,000.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item number 27 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope approves the procurement of an upgrade to internet bandwidth from 1 GHPS to 2 GHPS for the IT department from Harbor Communication, now C-Spire, as sole source distributor, and authorizes procurement based on the option allowed by the Code of Alabama 1975, Section 41-16-5113. The budgeted cost will not to exceed $17,400 annually. And if you'll recall, this is about, what do we say, $6,600 under budget?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 28 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope declares 38 LED lights GAN-SAHC-740-U-T2R-GN-U116390 Galleon LED 445 watt, 120-277 volt, type 2 roadway, Hartford Green as surplus, and the mayor and city treasurer are hereby authorized and directed to dispose of personal property owned by the city of Fairhope by one of the following methods. 1, receiving bids for such property via gov deal sold to the highest bidder, provided, however, that the city council shall have the authority to reject all bids when, in its opinion, it's deemed the bids to be less than adequate consideration for the personal property. Or 2, sold to the private sector through direct sale. All right, absent the shenanigans that I went on while I was reading it, do I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I think they set you up.
Mr. Johnson, can you confirm that those are GAN-SAHC-U-11639 LED lights?
Am I wrong, or am I the only one that's seeing all these numbers?
Yes.
Is this unusual?
I just started skipping them.
You're highly enlightened.
The word advice.
Highly enlightened.
From old
Don't
some
go
old-
back.
just
old-
LED lights.
Yeah, skip that.
Hey, look, training wheels are still on, guys. We'll work through it. All right, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, number 29 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope declares 3 sailboats owned by the city and located at Fairhope docks surplus and authorizes and directs Mayor Sherry Sullivan to dispose of boats by disposal via landfill.
So moved.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We have already covered 30 through 34, so we will now go to public participation for anything you want to talk about.
Don't give me.
Because I was juggling so much in my comments. I just want to remind everybody who's listening, if they're still listening, that we do have the tree lighting this Thursday. We have the movie in the streets on Saturday. We have America Recycles Day actually tomorrow from 10 to 2 at the Pecan Building. Free shredding and electronic recycling, and you can also get any information on recycling that you'd like to get. And then on Sunday from 1 to 4, we have the Christmas open house. And thank you to Councilman Conyers for his leadership, and enjoyed working with you and look forward to working with Jay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else for public participation, I will close that. And then 36 is executive session. Do I have something to read for that?
Letter, okay.
Got a bunch of numbers.
No. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
As City Council, City Attorney Marcus E. McDowell hereby requests the City of Fairhope go into executive session based on Section 36-25A7, A3 to discuss pending and potential litigation. As City Attorney, I hereby request the City Council of the City of Fairhope rise from regular City Council meeting on Monday, November 14, 2022, to go into executive session. The City Council shall be in executive session for approximately 50 minutes. At the end of the executive session, the City Council shall return to the City Council chambers to resume the regular City Council meeting. Do we anticipate taking any action when we get back?
Possibly.
Possibly?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Unlikely, but
That's
possible.
purgatory.
Unlikely, but possible.
I move to go into executive session.
Second.
All right.
You got people in
All
purgatory.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, we will be in executive session for approximately 50 minutes. The city, the governing body?
58 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, resolution. All right. All right, everybody's back in. I'm gonna bring us back to order here. Lisa, do I need to add an agenda item? All right, so we discussed some issues in the back in executive session. And I'd like to consider adding agenda item 38? 37?
Yes.
And I will read the possible resolution, and that is, be it hereby resolved by the governing body of the City of Fairhope that Chris Williams and the law firm of Hand Arundel are hereby authorized to file suit against parties involved or that cause damage to certain city property located on or near the North Mobile Street bluff. And so the first thing I'll entertain a motion to add that to the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda by adding the aforementioned resolution to tonight's agenda.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. Now I will entertain a motion to approve the recently added agenda items.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Meeting is adjourned.
All right.